What are y'all expecting to get from this retreat?
I need like refreshing. I want to feel refreshed, rejuvenated. Yeah, replug, recharged. That's what I need to.
Do you guys feel like? Well, what do you guys feel about the shift to the Sabbath? And like, were you guys overwhelmed? Were you scared? How do you feel now that you do it? Are you still kind of like, eh?
So my first Sabbath was on month's end.
Mm-hmm.
And that was very tough for me. I had to delete everything, like all apps, just to be obedient. But now it's been very beneficial, especially for my children, just to have that uninterrupted time with them, not in my phone, giving them undivided attention. So I'm glad that you laid that on Jasmine and she shared it with us, because it's really been business changing and life changing. Who's next?
I can say at first, my first one wasn't as tough as like my second one and my third one and my fourth one. Like the first one, like I was like, yes, Sabbath, I could use a break. So I was loving it. But then I was like, dang, like I got potentials on Friday and Saturday, and I got to push them all the way to Monday because Sunday is my Sabbath. Like it was a struggle. It was kind of hard, but definitely refreshing. I can relate to Berg. My kids are young, so I don't know if they really connected, but I know for me in my heart, it was beneficial, really truly being able to have that one-on-one time with them and not having to say, hold on, let me do this, let me closing myself off in my room, just really truly being able to spend quality time with them, like uninterrupted. I get a whole lot more like stuff done around the house on my Sabbath. Like laundry is done, you know, like hanging out with my kids, you know, cooking dinner, like stuff like that really is, and it kind of like recharges you and replugs, like in a way, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So I got one more question and then I want to start because I just want to do some investigating. So I really give you guys something that's relevant and I'm not just speaking, you know what I mean? The only other thing is, as a leader, what would you guys say is your biggest struggle?
Staying connected with my team.
I can't hear.
Staying connected with my team individually, like one-on-one. That's my struggle. Like having one-on-one calls and talking to people. Like,
I can't hear. I don't know what in the world. You covering the mic, baby?
I don't think so. Can you hear now?
I can hear now.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So I was saying that my struggle is basically one-on-ones with my team, like with each person. Like sometimes I feel like if you want it, you want it. Like do it. Like I shouldn't have to talk to you every day, all day. Like that's my struggle.
Okay. Somebody else said something?
Yeah, I want to say some duplication.
Anybody else?
Procrastination.
Huh?
Procrastination. I'll do it later. I'll do it later.
For you, right? For you?
Yes.
Okay. Did anybody else say?
I did. I said mine is consistency, just being consistent about what I'm doing in the business.
Okay. Who in here is not full time?
Everybody except for me, Burgundy, and Trinita.
Who is not what?
Full time.
So majority are not full time yet.
Right.
Does anybody not have the desire to be full time?
Yeah.
You full time too.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh yeah.
There's somebody that doesn't desire to be full time.
Everybody desires to be full time.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Hold on 1 second. Let me turn this heater off. All right. So, is there anything that you guys really have on your heart that you would like me to talk about?
I would say, I guess it kind of just falls into what you were just asking about, like your struggles as a leader, just pushing past your own personal, like what you have going on, like pushing past that to motivate other people and keep other people lifted. I think that kind of falls into what she, like, you know, keeping in contact with people, like seeing if they need help, seeing if they're okay, like pushing past what you have going on personally to still fulfill those leadership roles on days when you just.
Okay. Hold on, hold on 1 second. Let me look this scripture up. All right. So, all right, I want to start where I'm going to start. So the first thing I want to tell you guys is about the Sabbath. One thing that I'm hearing and feeling is when I've probably been taking Sabbaths since May. And when I first started taking them, my conviction was big enough that I didn't care. Like, I did not care because I knew it was my commitment to him and I knew I owed him. So I'm like, God, show me some grace. Because listen, it's been 5 years and I ain't took not a nan day off, and I ain't trying to be like the children of Israel. I'm just saying, like, don't make my land dry where it doesn't bear fruit because I wasn't obeying your commandments. Like, show grace on me. So that was one thing. But then as I began to strengthen my relationship with him, I loved him more. And as you love somebody more, let me tell y'all, this is my thing. When it comes to my husband, I always tell people this all the time. I promise you, God intended for me to be obsessed with my husband so I would know what it meant to be obsessed. When my husband and I was dating, I was a hot mess express, okay? I got a tattoo. My husband was a Kappa, so we went and got Playboy bunnies, and I got the same one he got. We was not married, not even halfway engaged. Real silly. I was obsessed. Like, I was obsessed with him. Like, thank God he married me. Like, for real. But here's the thing. Let me tell y'all this. I think he did that because he wanted me to know what it looked like. So now, as I'm building my relationship with Christ, which should be greater than my husband's, if I'm not more obsessed with Jesus than I was with him, there's a problem. So I know exactly what it's supposed to look like. My husband loves Applebee's. So best believe that became my favorite restaurant, right? Like, where you want to go eat? Applebee's? Like, I want to go eat Applebee's. Like, what are you saying? Like, I wanted to do the things that he wanted. Yeah, when my husband, he loves gummy bears. I would have a whole drawer in my house of gummy bears. Like, babe, you got some gummy bears? Yes, babe, I got some gummy bears for you. Because I was obsessed with him. And when you're obsessed with somebody, you want to have everything that they have. You want every situation, every circumstance, everything to be for them. You want it to be laid out. You want to give them the desires of their heart, right? And so how do you give somebody the desires of their heart if you don't even know who they are? So then I had to start spending time, right? When you obsessed, you want to pop up and you like, where you gonna be at? Oh, you gonna be at that club? Okay. So listen, you gonna go to the club with me? Like, Brianna going, like, I gotta, just bump into him, like, oh shoot, I didn't know you was gonna be here. Like, hey. You know what I'm saying? Like, you wanna be where they at, you wanna know what they like, you asking around about them, like, right? Because you're obsessed with them, like, you like them, you wanna get to know them. And so that's what I began to do when it came to Jesus. I wanted to know more about him. I went to class and I went and studied, and that was my sermons. I wanted to know, like, taking notes, like, oh, okay, and you did this. I remember one of the most pivotal moments of our relationship is when I, like, really read about him not wanting to go to the cross. And I was like, man, like, so you didn't want to go? Like, you wasn't just like you didn't want to go, but you still did it for me? Like, you took all that and did it for me? And then one thing that Cindy said at the leadership retreat, she was like, not the leader, at the conference, she was like, she had a conversation with one of her friends, and pretty much her friend told her, like, the blood paid for that. Like, the blood paid for that. Like, when you get done, his blood already paid for that. And it was like, okay. So her friend was like, so his blood isn't enough? It's like, you're not going to let it go? So you're telling me that his blood wasn't enough? And it was like, ooh. Like, what are you holding on to right now that he already paid for, but you're still paying for it every single day? And you're saying that his blood wasn't enough. So going back to the Sabbath, for me now, as much as I love spending time with my family, as much as I love like the uninterrupted time, that day, y'all, is for him. And I enjoy spending time with him all day long. And my husband knows, and mine's is on a Wednesday right now. I sit and watch sermons all day long. Like, I just be like, it's my day to completely unplug and learn more about Jesus. Like, with praise and worship. Like, it's, you would think that I'm a lame. Like, but I love spending time with him more time, like all day. It would be like if I had a whole day for my boo. Like, Brianna and I, we were college sweethearts. And so like, we would pray for snow days. And then Brianna and I, we would like play video games all day long and just hang out and do things we weren't supposed to be doing because we weren't married. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I'm just saying, like, we would spend time all day long, right? And so that's what my Sabbath is all about. So I would charge you to spend more time with him, to the point now, I don't even know if y'all follow me, but on my story, my son will sit and play the game and listen to Pastor Todd. Like, my son knows, and he thinks he's so funny. And so finding people who match your personality that can really feed into your spirit to where you really understand and grasp hold of really understanding who God is, who Jesus is, and how much he loves you and how amazing he is. So I think that would take y'all Sabbaths to a whole nother level, to where it wouldn't be, I could care less about my potentials at this point. Like, if you decide you ain't buying, you weren't meant to buy from me, no way. And I tell people, I'm actually about to take an entire week off. Yeah, and let me tell you, this was a journey for me to say, yes, Jesus, I do it. But I'm taking off an entire week. And I was talking to my potentials this week. And, you know, I did some hosted posts and I was like, oh, I get paid on the 11th. And I was like, okay, can I call you on the 14th? Because I'm out. You know what I'm saying? I won't be available. I'll sign people on Tuesday, link them with one of my leaders that they're not even placed under, and say, hey, like, if you have any questions, reach out to this person today. I'm completely unavailable tomorrow, but I'll be back on Thursday. And I got to one point, one of my Sabbaths, and Jasmine, how much time I got? So I can just know.
Go ahead. Whatever. You're good.
Okay. So I had a conversation. It was crazy. I go work out on Wednesdays. We have a standing appointment with my trainer, and they know I'm the It Works girl. They know I've been doing It Works for a long time. And it got to a point where I would go in and, oh, no, it wasn't. I was going to get my lashes done. I was getting my lashes done. And they know I'm the It Works girl, but they don't ever ask me about, they don't really ever ask about me about nothing. And it's Wednesday, I was going in. I never got my lashes done when I wasn't worried about nothing or nothing like that, to really just relax, to be able to do it. And I went in, and she was like, oh, Rachel, I want to cleanse. And I'm like, really? Like, you never ask me about my products, like, when I come in here. And today you want to cleanse. And the thing that set in my spirit was like, I can't talk. No, you know what? I don't have to. Like, it's not that I can't. I really can. Nobody controls me. I can talk about my business today if I wanted to, but I don't have to, because this is my day of rest. And if you're going to buy this cleanse, this same cleanse going to be around tomorrow, and you're still going to buy it. And guess what? She still became my customer. So it did not matter. It's not about that you can't talk about your business or you can't work. You shouldn't want to, because God said, if you take this day and you rest, I can add more to it. And so once you get to that and you just understand that that's his day to do his thing and be God, then it just goes to a whole nother level, and you just let him do him, you know? And it strengthens that trust and strengthens that muscle. It just allows you to know that you really can trust him, and he really will hold it down if you do what you're supposed to be doing. You play your part. So that's one thing. The next thing I want to talk about is, like, connecting with your team. So somebody who asked that, connecting with your team. The one-to-ones, here's the thing. You know, if, okay, y'all watch that live I did on your team page the other day?
Yes.
Okay, so here's the thing. You know if they're not a quality distributor or not, and you also know if you have to pray for the heart of discernment when it comes to somebody who just needs a friend and somebody who's here to work. To me, actions always speak louder than words. And to take it even a further step, reactions speak louder than words. So how they react is really going to show you what they're made of and what they're ready for. Now, for me, if you're not, I don't reach out to people all the time unless God places me on your heart, or places you on my heart, because I run a business. And at the end of the day, this is how my family eats. So I'm still your leader. The door is still open, but this is a business. And so if you're not here to do business activities, you're more than welcome to sit with us, but I'm not focused on you. If somebody had no action in East Week last month and didn't even run an auto ship, we don't have much to talk about. But I still love you. And when you're ready, we can talk. If you reach out to me, I'm here. But there are boundaries, and there's also the thing called distractions, and they're very real. And the devil is very good at using them, whether they're good or bad. And that y'all got to get that real quick. Like, distractions can be good and bad. And just because it's something good doesn't mean it's God. That is definitely a big thing that I had to learn. So I have a girl on my team who loves to kick it. Like, she's always around the parties and everything and wants to come over your house and sit and do a grind and never signs a customer. Guess what? I don't have time for that. Like, I just don't. But when you sign a customer and you start having some e-suite action, then we can talk, because now you're starting to apply the things that I've taught you. So when you're going to give your energy, number one is get up and go to the table every single morning. Like, I'm telling you, I don't care if you don't want to, eventually it'll become your favorite thing to do. Because like I was talking about in that video, if your cup is empty, you are pouring from an empty cup, and then your team is sucky and you're wondering why, but that's exactly what you're giving them. It's the spirit that you're giving your team. You are pouring stale water onto your team, praying that it come alive. Mm-hmm. Do you get what I'm saying? So you have to get up and go to the table every single morning so that God can fill you up. Because if he fills you up right now, there is no reason why it's 9 o'clock and I've been up since 6 and I'm this turned up. It's just not no reason. It ain't nobody but Jesus, because I got to get up at 5 o'clock tomorrow morning to drive to Grand Rapids. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, when you tap into a well that does not run dry, he will fill you up. He will give you the energy to pour out. Another thing I had to learn is nobody owes me.
You gonna preach today?
Give y'all what I got. Nobody owes you anything.
Yes.
At all. And my new hashtag, y'all, is nice but not needed. And this is personal for me, because so many times when you give to so many people on so many levels, let me give y'all a story. So I don't know if y'all know, but I signed a girl from France. Anybody know that? Signed a girl from France about 2 years ago. And we began to really connect. I would stay up till midnight. Midnight here is 7 o'clock there. And so I would stay up till midnight so that I could converse with them and kind of get their day started. And then I would check in with them in the middle of the day. Like, I was so committed to being their leader and going above and beyond. I kind of tried, when we tried, you hardly try at all. But I kind of tried to learn French. You really didn't. But connected with her, helped her go diamond, y'all. And then I paid for her to come over here to America for my diamond retreat. Because I was going to go over there because, one of our traditions is I take my diamonds to Tiffany's and give them a bracelet every time they get diamond. And so I paid for her to come over to the diamond retreat. And coming from France is not cheap. And she was here. And then, y'all, I let this girl stay in my house for a week in America. In my house for a week. She came to conference in February. And maybe 2 or 3 weeks after conference, she went to Monet or something like that. She switched companies. And I was like, straight up, like, I brought you to America. Like, bro, you stayed in my house for a week. Like, you got me messed up. Like, I was pissed, right? But then I was like, so what God did in my spirit was, did you do that for her? Or did you do that for me? Were you encouraging her heart and letting her know that there is more? Let me tell y'all, this girl didn't even believe in God. Over in France, they don't do religion like we do. They don't do Jesus like we do. It's not something they talk about. It's something that's hidden. It's not something that you can be out about. Do you know that when she came over here, she was like, man, like this God thing, like Jesus, like, I just can't believe that you guys have faith like this. Like, how do I know that I wasn't just supposed to expose her to Jesus? And while I'm sitting here all wrapped up in the fact that I brought her over here, was I doing it for myself and for personal gain? Or was I doing it because God gave me the ability to pour and to serve other people? So why are you doing what you're doing? Now, if she stays with me, that's awesome. But if she doesn't, it's nice that I knew her, but her presence in my life is not needed. Nor do I need her to get to where God intended for me to go if she's not still in my life. And if I believe that I need her in my life to get to where I'm going, then I don't trust God.
Right.
And I was like, okay. So it's nice, but it's not needed. If your leaders tell you thank you, if a distributor tells you thank you for driving 4 hours to do a party, awesome. If not, it's not needed, because every single thing that you do should be for his glory and for nobody else's. Nobody else's. Nobody else's, period. And once you get to that place as a leader, I'm telling you, like, he'll start moving mountains, because he knows that he is your source and that you're willing to serve his people regardless of what you get from them, because we all fall short, right? Yeah. We all fall short. That's scripture. So every single time you depend on them to give you something, you're going to always be disappointed. Always. So I hope that kind of helps you with that. Duplication, procrastination, and consistency. So for me, the duplication piece is staying with the pace of grace. And for me, the pace of grace is deciding you have some morals when it comes to this business, and understanding that the steps to success was created for a reason. Period. Number one, you don't use the product, you don't have belief. So you have to use the product. And on my team, you decide not to run an auto ship, that's your choice, but you will never hear me say that's okay. Period. Because if you don't use the product, you don't believe it. You don't. If you don't have rap results, you don't know the rap works. If you don't have cleanse results, and now here's the thing. Now they're feeding off of your results until they get their own. But there should never be 3 months that go by and they don't have no results. But you can't lower your standards. So step 1 is important. Step 2, 4 loyal customers. Now, you have a host of posts that pops, like I said, awesome. But if not, those 4 loyal customers is how you build your business. And if you can build some quality relationships, those will build your network, and they'll vouch for you. You get what I'm saying? Because you built 4 quality relationships, and then the 3 distributors, and not the struggle bus people who don't want to get off. Go find you 3 quality distributors that are going to work. Now, on the flip side, you have to be the distributor that you want. And we always hear that, right? It's cliche. But you have to get up, and I highly suggest in your own personal time that you study the ant in the Bible. It's a short passage. The ant gets up. Nobody tells it what to do. It gets to work, and it works, right? And so that's what you do every single day. You get up and you work. That's what we do. The Bible says nothing about retirement. So come on, you got Abraham and them out in the field like 90 years old. Like, come on. You trying to retire at 50. No, you trying to retire. I'm retired at 30. No, you're not. You work from your phone. Like, you work hard. You still have to work hard. So that whole mentality of not working is almost as bad as people believing that they're supposed to go through this life with no hurt, with no pain. God never said that. He just said that you could get through every day with ease if he's with you. So if you allow him to guide your steps when it comes to your business, it's the same thing. He never said it's not going to be difficult. He's just saying that if you keep him at the forefront, you can get through every day with ease. He'll do the provision. He'll make it happen. He'll put the right people in your path, but you just have to open your mouth and move your feet. So what's your why? My why has completely changed. When I first started this business, it was the money. Hands down, I needed the money. But eventually, as I began to grow and grow and grow, I remember when I first made my first 5-figure check, I was like, hold up, wait a second. Like, this is real life. I got scared. I was like, okay, so I'm never not going to pay my tithes because, listen, I ain't playing with Jesus and this money. Like, it's too much money. I'm not finna. Listen, like, you get a $40,000 check in 1 month, you be like, Jesus, be your fence. Oh. Like, what's going on? Like, who do you know makes that kind of money in 1 month? So you have to make sure you're in alignment with him, and he will literally direct your path. I'm serious. He will. But when it all boils down, it's about how much you're willing to serve. And so for me now, my goal is to build his kingdom. That's it. I was telling somebody earlier, I got $100 the other day. And what you'll realize, the more money you make, which is why debt is 100% my number one focus, because a lot of the times the money that y'all get and the surplus that you're getting, it's not even for you. God places somebody on your heart and he wants you to give it. And you like, you sure? I had $100 the other day and I was like, God was like, that's not yours. That's such and such. And so I put that mug in the card and I was like, all right, because obedience is better than sacrifice. And so every time, and do y'all know delayed obedience is still disobedience? So if God tells you to do something, you do it in that moment. And that's how you learn that you trust somebody. Just like with your kids, if you tell your kid to go do something and they do it on their own time, you like, oh, you want to whoop it. Oh, it ain't 30 minutes later. It's not an hour later. I said do it right now. And he feel the same way. If he told you to do something, you do it. So, yeah. Anybody have any questions? I think go ahead.
I was going to ask, the conversation that I'm talking about as far as how do you, like your, when you enroll so many customers or so many distributors, how do you teach your team to do the same thing?
So enrolling so many?
Yeah, like when
it's 4.
That's what she's saying. She's saying you complete your steps and then you help your other people do it so that it's not you doing it all.
Yeah.
So teaching them how, like, not trying to do it all.
Yeah. What would your organization look like if your team actually completed their steps?
Right.
Jesus.
Right. That's how I
people. And those 3 quality people bring in 4 customers like they're supposed to.
And bring in 3 quality people and then teach those 3 quality people to bring in 3 quality people, 4 customers.
So quality over quantity.
Yes, absolutely. Do y'all know that when Cammie went Black Diamond, she had the least amount of people in her organization?
So with that, Cammie?
Yes. Do you know to this day her ambassador diamonds are still here and they are like still loyal to her? People buy people, not product.
Yeah.
Why do people buy from me? Because Rachel inconsistently, and I'm okay with telling you that, I inconsistently use my products. So when people tell me that the products don't work, I'll be like, you lying? Because I don't even use them consistently and I still have results, okay? I still got abs and everything. Like, let me tell you, you ain't telling the truth. But I have that belief because I use my products. So as you use the products, your belief will heighten. So yeah, steps to success. I'm trying to tell you, girl. How do you teach them how to do that? You make them start with step 1. Use your product. And as they use it, they'll be like, oh, the wraps do work. Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah. And then it's like, okay, who can we share this with? Like, who can we share? And I know, like, people like to say, well, I'm a salesperson. I'm not. Like, I understand I do sales. Don't get me wrong. You got to make sales to get them to eat. But I literally am in the game of changing people's lives. And if you can get that, it will change your entire business. If you can serve your team, if you can serve, I wanted to read a scripture. I just thought about that. I wanted to read a scripture to you guys. Okay, so I don't even know what translation this is, so let me pull it up on my Bible app. So it's Matthew 20, 25 through 28. I'll read it. I don't know what translation this is. But it says, the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their great ones are tyrants over them. It will not be so among you. So you know the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and their great ones are tyrants over them. Pretty much like they're controlling them, right? Say it will not be so among you, but whoever wishes to be great among you great among you must be your servant, and whoever wishes to be first among you must be your slave. Just as the Son of Man came not to be served, but to serve, and to give his life away as a ransom for many. At the end of the day, if you want to be at the top, you got to be at the bottom. And if you're not willing to serve, you'll always fall short. And the only way to serve and have hashtag nice but not needed is if you allow him to fill you up. I'm telling you, it'll change your life. It'll change how you treat your team. It'll change your feelings. I always tell my team, I just told my diamond the other day, I said, you need to put on your computer screen, you need to follow up without feelings. So when you go to follow up, leave your feelings at the door. Because if you do, it'll change the way you follow up. And it'll literally be, how can I help you instead of how can you help me? So, Jasmine, is there anything else you'd like for me to talk about?
No, I mean, that was really, really
That
good.
was amazing.
I guess
Preaching over here.
I guess one last thing, it's just really, and I think it all just kind of ties back into everything that you already said at the beginning. But maybe you may have something in addition to say, maybe you don't. But just whenever you're juggling things personally and trying to stay consistent in your business, how do you deal with stuff like that? And I think it all boils down to what we always talk about, is making sure you're taking care of yourself, making sure that you honor your Sabbath, making sure that on your Sabbath you're actually spending time, not only just spending time with the people you love, but also spending some extra sweet time with Jesus, and just making sure that, you know, you're building up that relationship. And so I just, maybe if you have anything else to say in regards to just juggling personal struggles and keeping consistent in your business, maybe that could help a couple of the girls.
Personally, you know what's crazy? I know God did this to me on purpose. Most of everything that somebody could go through in life, a lot of things, not everything, I've dealt with since I've been in this business over these last 5 years. I remember I lost my dad in the midst of a presidential diamond run. Had family members, very close family members, get cancer, had people pass away, dealt with infertility, and nobody even knew it. I still got up every single day, and I allowed my struggles to become my motivation, right? For me, my relationship with Christ was important. I had to have a mentor. My pastor is the person I talk to about any and everything. So if you don't have somebody on a spiritual level who is counseling you, a covering, if y'all haven't watched that last Planted, Not Buried, but Planted and Undercover, did y'all watch that? Ooh, yeah, if you haven't, y'all need to watch that, but you need a covering. And I had a covering. And so no matter how much I messed up, she was always there to correct. You need somebody who's going to correct you, and somebody who's going to encourage you and lift you up. And it cannot be your team. You always vent up, you never vent down. But then you also got to know, even when you vent up, if you're not venting to somebody who can pray with you, then you're venting to the wrong person. A lot of times you don't even need advice. You just need somebody to pray with you because you got to go through it. Right? Like God said he'll be with you through it. He didn't say that he'll take it away. So knowing that, I know for me, as I started to go through things, it was like, man, like the enemy keeps knocking you down. When are you going to decide to fight? Because at the end of the day, you either forfeit or you win. And I wasn't forfeiting no fights. And so I decided that as life started to happen to me, I was going to fight. And the way you fight is by putting the person in place that's already won. Right? If he's already won and he can't be defeated, then why don't you get up and use the weapons that you have? And that don't mean that every day is going to be great. But it means that you can get through every day. It means that you can push through it because you know who your source is. And I always tell people this, like, the devil ain't weak. Like, he's not. I don't know why, but he's not weak. He's not. He's very clever. And so that's why, like, what are you going to do? It's all up to you. It all starts with you. And so I had to understand that it started with me. What am I letting in my spirit? What am I allowing to come into my household? What am I not willing to give up? How am I allowing? Let me tell you, boy, there was a few things that I would allow. I would allow it to. Like, Rachel, you're in a bad headspace. Why would you go drink? Like, that doesn't even make sense. For what? To make a fool of yourself? Because your emotions are gonna flow over? What are you using the alcohol for anyway? To suppress what you're going through instead of allowing God to deal with it? You know, it's always you. So if you can handle you by my personal development, my spiritual development, drowning out the devil's voice, speaking back, you got to speak back and be okay with speaking back and telling him that he has no place here. You won't control my family. You won't touch my husband. You won't touch my kids. Nothing that you throw my way, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. Do y'all know right here? I don't want to take it off because I don't want it to not stick anymore. This is right here on my, right here. Not one. And it's been sitting here. Not when you come against my team, when you put your mouth in my leaders' ears and you tell them this and tell them that, I'm going to keep on believing what God told me. I'm going to make a choice. And my choice is to believe that all his promises are yes and amen. That's it. Nothing else. Nothing else. But then you also have to surround yourself. You have to find the community. There is no such thing as isolation. Isolation will make you lose every single time. Every single time. That is how the devil comes in and prowls, because you have nobody else that's praying with you. You have nobody else who's telling you, no, that's the devil and that's a lie. No, you can do this. Who's speaking into your life? And if your upline can't speak into your life, which I know this one can, I don't know where everybody is on the chart, but y'all know that Jasmine can. So you call her and you say, no, I know it's the devil. Or even if you don't know it's the devil, just be like, listen, this is what's happening in my life. And you have to unapologetically, as a leader, be willing to say the devil is a lie. And we're not accepting this. And this is not okay. So when it comes to my personal things, my counseling, and going right into it and knowing that you always need help. There is no such thing as not needing help. Ever. There is no such thing as doing something on your own. Ever. That's not what God intended. Did Jesus do anything by himself? Anything? Can y'all think of anything? He did nothing by himself. Now, there were times where he just took Peter, James, and John, right? But he never did anything alone. For the most part. You know, he might have fasted by himself, for 40 days. You know what I'm saying? But like, for the most part, he did everything in community. So it's important. Now the question is, who is your community? And your community should never be more important than Jesus. If y'all haven't read this book, who's read this?
I haven't read it.
Wait a minute.
Discerning the voice of God.
Yeah.
Okay.
If I were y'all, every single last one of y'all would get this book. That changed my relationship with him. For 2017, my goal was to be able to discern his voice. Because let's just be honest, we live in the world and you hear a lot of voices. And it's like, God, I want to know that that's you. I don't want to second guess. I want to know that's you. So as you get to know him more, you'll know who you can link up with. You'll know which sideline ain't no good. If I could just be honest, you'll know which one's out here and just in the business for the wrong reasons. And you just pray, God, please change her heart. But in the meantime, that's not somebody I can click up with. But yeah, God's gonna work it out, if I can tell you that. And if you know that he's the joy, if you stick with him, he'll give you peace in the midst of the storm. He will give you the peace under the pressure. I'm a witness. Okay. And it will strengthen your relationship so much that you'll be like, God, I trust you. Like, no matter what you take me through. And all he wants you to do is have bigger faith. And if he can use your faith and he can get the glory from your life, he'll do miraculous things in your life. It's when you get around other people and they start talking sideways and you like, oh, nah, bro. You got to go. You gotta go. Like, your faith is, baby. I can't. Let me tell you, y'all this. How many of y'all heard my story about my son and how he was born? Okay. So my son Zayden was born in my garage upstairs in my house. I did something called Hypnobabies. Hypnobabies probably was the first journey of my, you did Hypnobabies?
No.
Oh, okay. Your Hypnobabies is fine. But Hypnobabies was probably my first journey towards really taking care of myself and letting God be the center of my life. It sounds crazy. But in Hypnobabies, you have, and I'm going to end on this. In Hypnobabies, you have something that you have to create called a bubble of peace. It's a real thing. And when you do your hypnosis, you have to imagine this bubble. And so my bubble, while I'm in hypnosis, my bubble was steel. And it had spikes on the outside of my bubble. Now, when it comes to birth, and to this day, even though my son's almost 1 year old, there is no such thing as pain. There's only pressure. There is no such thing as labor. It's called birth. I don't deliver because my baby's not a pizza. I give birth, right? So there were all these things that I was not allowed to let in my bubble. And it was so much so that because subconscious is real, it's a real thing. So you could not even talk to me about that stuff. If you said contractions, we can't talk because they're not contractions, they're pressure waves. Now, if they're contractions for you, that's your business. But over here, we don't say that. And that's how serious it was, y'all. My husband was like, he was my bodyguard, like where he would shut people down. You cannot talk to me if you're not going to talk in my language because it cannot come in my bubble. If somebody wanted, so if you said like contractions, because of where my mind was and how much I understood my bubble of peace was important, it would hit the spikes and it would go off and we could no longer have conversations. That's how important it should be when it comes to your bubble of peace. There should be certain conversations, certain music, certain things that you don't even allow to come into your subconscious. Because even when you listen, little do you know, it still penetrates your spirit. And you're wondering why, like, where is this coming from? Be like, oh, you remember that conversation that you had where you was just listening? And now it's in your spirit and you didn't even know it. The devil makes us believe that we are strong enough to hear it even when you're not. I'm weak. I'm real weak. Because the weaker I am, guess what? I can't live. I don't want to hear nothing. If I can just be real with y'all, when all that stuff was happening, they knew not to call me. Not one of them called me. Why? Because they knew I was unapologetic and I don't play that. So are you approachable when it comes to those kind of things? Not that, but just period. Will people come to you with that type of stuff? Or do they know you're not going for that? If you don't stand for something, you will literally fall for anything and don't even realize you'll fall for it. So create your bubble. I suggest that each one of y'all tonight, create your bubble. And it'll change your business. Yeah.
So good.
You are you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rachel.
Oh my
You're
God.
welcome.
We're so thankful for you. We really are. You poured into our team. We appreciate it.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure.
Speechless.
Yeah,
I know you
yeah.
say you snatched the wigs off. Megan said her edges might be gone.
That's good. I'm excited. I really am. I just know, and this is just real, and I actually got a party in 10 minutes, but what's real for me is when I saw Jasmine at the ranch, I didn't know if everybody had left. Let me just say that. And I remember when I saw your promotion, I saw your promotion go up, and I didn't know who you were, and I never heard Alina talk about you. And so I was like, who is this? But I never asked. And I saw you at Green Carpet, and I didn't know. I was like, who is this girl? I was like, did Elena have somebody stay? Like, I was so confused, right? And then, because I knew you had made it to the ranch, but I didn't know if you had went with them or you were coming to the ranch or what. And, I know Aaron had some black girls that was coming up. Some of the white leaders had some black girls that was coming up. So I was like, I don't know. We be in our own bubble over here. And when I met Jasmine, I was like, oh, okay. And there was just something that dropped in me that, something that dropped in my spirit regarding y'all team. And I don't say this lightly, and this is almost like a charge to you all when it comes to your willingness to submit. And that's why I'm saying, if y'all have not, even in y'all own time, I suggest watching the Planted Undercover. Watch that in your own time, or I don't know if y'all watching it together. But if you all are willing, and I know it takes a lot when especially if you've never done it in life before, but if you guys are willing to increase your level of trust and truly submit to Jasmine's leadership, you guys not only can, but will be a top 10 team. But only if you're willing to knock down every assignment that the enemy has when it comes to your team. So when it comes to things that you see him throwing your way, you guys have to be so on point that nothing that he forms against you will prosper. Because he's going to come for you because of who you serve. Do you get what I'm saying? You have a target on your back because of who you serve. So you have to know that everything that you have to have yourself armed and ready. And if you're not ready, guess what? He is going to win every single time. So when you wake up every single day, you know that delayed does not mean denied. Delayed does not mean denied. And you cannot stop because it's delayed. That doesn't mean that you don't get up and keep working as if you're an ant. You keep working as if you are an ant, and he will put his super on your natural, right? But only if you're doing your natural. If you do your natural, he can bring in the super. Hands down, I know that God has intended for the light to shine in this company, where he wants people to be the face that truly love him, that truly, yes, we appreciate the money. Thank you, Jesus. But we're not here for that. You might be like, girl, please, I'm here for that. I get it. But once you can say, God, even if you don't, right? Because that's what they said. When they were thrown in the furnace, they said, listen, God gonna save us. But even if he doesn't, that's what he wants. He wants you to say that. And when you can fully say that in your heart, like this, like this, like this. But you have to be able to say in your heart, God, even if I don't get not a NAM or a fast start, If I don't get nobody else to join my team, you still good. I still trust you. I still serve you. If you can get there, top 10. Okay, that's all I got.
Maybe not off her basket.
Right. Thank you, Rachel.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Y'all enjoy yourselves.
Thank
Have a blast.
Thank you.
Filled up. Listen, so from believer to believer, y'all better do this thing. Now, don't make God a liar now. Y'all better do it. Y'all better do it.
Thank you so much. We love you. We appreciate everything.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you guys at conference as well. No less than presidential in this season. I went presidential in October. I'm just saying.
Oh my God.
Let's go.
Let's go. All right, y'all. I gotta hop on my party. Love you, Jess.
Love you too. Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
All right.
Bye.